Guys, welcome back to our channel, 2UC. If you're new here, thank you so much for joining to Unpolitically Correct. We're so glad to have you. So today we wanted to talk about two interesting subjects that came across our news feed. So the first one being the egg shortage, as well as the supposed Chinese spy balloon. It's hard to keep a straight face when I talk about it because to me it doesn't make sense, but we're going to discuss our thoughts, and we would love to hear your opinions as well as we get into this subject.
Hello, guys. Have you been affected by these egg shortages on the shelves? Have you noticed the prices has gone up? When we went to the grocery store and we looked on the prices of eggs last week, we're like, oh, darn, like, the egg prices went up like 2 times than what it was. I'm sure everywhere has been affected. And actually, when I was at work, we were talking about it too. And they were saying like, it's like the bird flu. That's the reason why there's no eggs on the shelves. So I'm going to screen share.
Whether we eat at home or eat out, eggs are a big part of our diet. But the days of easily finding affordable eggs in the valley are becoming a major challenge.
We don't buy eggs anymore. We come here.
It's a temporary solution for Marcia Briley, who is a regular here at the original Omelet House.
The main ingredient that I serve has risen dramatically in price.
Omelet House owner Kevin Mills says this sudden shortage of eggs as a result of the bird flu outbreak and other factors is costing him more. For the first time since 1979, the price of eggs has increased by nearly 600% in less than a year. Mills says his cost for eggs went from 58 cents a dozen to more than $7.
I'm very worried about the supply chain and not even being able to obtain them eggs at any price.
Mills says he is no longer using his main egg providers because some are in short supply, others are priced too high, forcing Mills to buy eggs from the grocery store instead. But when he arrives, nothing but empty shelves. He says
familiar.
Costco has been saving his business, but more help is needed.
If we don't get any relief soon, I think we're going to see less competition in the restaurant business because people aren't going to be able to make it.
But Mills is not alone.
Here at Great Funds Bakery on the east side of town, they're also being hit by this egg crisis. They buy their eggs in bulk. Last year, 30 pounds cost them $60. Now it's costing them $140.
In the last couple of months, it's gone up an additional 45%. We've been seeing. So
crazy.
we're definitely seeing this big impact
my
for us as far as our price of ingredients.
Operations manager Deborah Morelli says they use a lot of eggs, from their lemon shortbread to their apple strudels. They provide goods to all the resorts on the Las Vegas Strip and to many in the valley, hoping the price of eggs goes back to normal and that the support doesn't stop.
That's so crazy.
They call it avian bird flu, but the farmers say that their chickens are fine. Their chickens are not sick.
Yeah.
Farmers are noticing when they change the feed, like instead of giving the birds the commercial feeds that they buy at the stores, they give them like scraps from their own.
And they've been laying so much more eggs. They've been laying, So it's definitely the feed that they're getting from the commercial stores.
Is the commercial feed the reason so many people's chickens have not been laying at all?
So my chickens have not laid since I want to say July 2022, and I just switched their feed a week ago, and for the first time since July last year, I got eggs. It is the feed. It is definitely the feed. I switched to, I'll look up the name, but I'm telling you, it's the feed.
There's definitely some change in it. Just like, if you change a product, the product been working for you, the original product been working for you for so long, but they take out certain ingredients, they add certain ingredients in it. It's either you get some reaction or it's not working as properly as it used to. So it goes to show that the farmers are talking.
Don't you find it ironic that Bill Gates of hell has a company that is to make fake eggs, and all of a sudden there's an egg shortage? So you understand, like, it's just so crazy.
Anything that Bill Gates have in mind upon, it's never good. Like, it's never good. When I hear Bill Gates and here, I'm like, bro. It's the same thing when I hear about the formula, and I'm so happy my kids like past formula stage
Mhm.
because remember, I'm sure everybody kind of remember when, I mean, especially parents with newborns, there was so much shortage, which is still is shortage
Mhm.
with formula. The formula that I used to use for my son, like it's not there on the shelves anymore. You get me? There's always something. Like, when are we gonna get a break? Like, after this, then there's something else. Then there's something else.
Mm.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah, that's because we're in the
And
end
then
times.
remember he was saying that with the even though the formula, they were saying that, okay, what it was it? Was it some reaction with the formula, or there's
Yeah,
some
they were saying how there was like some contamination, like in the
contaminants in
formula,
there?
but it was supposedly they said the company was saying, well, that was corrected already, and then it
Mm-hmm.
shouldn't have affected, for there to be a shortage. And then the factories were burning down. The factories that had the baby formula were burning down. Everything is just adding up for you to see that it's intentional. Like, what's happening is
Yes.
the baby formula shortage was intentional. There's actually an
Mm-hmm.
army person, Kimmy. I don't know if I'll be able to find the video because I think it was last year, I believe. There's an army person who was taking a video of them throwing out formula. Like, why would
Oh,
you be,
really?
yes, throwing out all these cans of formula, dumping them? So I'm like, why, if there's a shortage, why are you dumping formula?
What did they say? They were built because of the shortage, they're going to replace it with some type of formula that they're going to make. And I'm like,
Yeah.
man, I don't trust not a darn thing that these people going to put on the shelf to give my baby.
Which
You get me?
Bill Gates of Hell was also owner of one of those companies.
Exactly. So I'm like, I am not going to, like, I'm just so thankful that, but my heart went out to the mothers because I did see it, like, while I was in Target and stuff. I see even the fathers, they come, they hurry up because just like a rush to see if the formula that they usually use it's on the shelves. But when they see that there's no formula on the shelf, it's just like, oh man, what are they gonna do? And it's just like stores to stores to store you go, and there was no formula. The shelves was empty, just like the eggs. The shelves are empty. You get me? So I'm like, oh my goodness, it's just like just one thing. If it's not one thing, it's the next. I'm like, oh my God, brace yourself for something else, man. Shoot.
Another interesting tidbit of information that I wanted to share too is Bill Gates also I think he wanted to change the cattle or something. I don't remember exactly what he wanted to do with beef, but he wanted to modify the beef, right? But isn't it ironic that around that
Why
same,
he just wanna
because he
do
wants,
everything like,
he
oh
wants to
my
kill
goodness,
off
just
people.
change it. Yeah, remember we talk about the population
Right,
control.
right. Exactly. It all has to do with that. So that's why he's modifying food. And it makes sense too, because the Bible says that God, he's going to have to shorten the days or else the elect won't be saved. And it makes sense because if they're modifying the food and they're trying to find a way to contaminate humanity, because remember, they want to target our DNA. And if they see not everybody wants to take this shot, they're trying to do it with the food. Because remember, he's saying that they're experimenting with lettuce and spinach to see how they can put mRNA in that to contaminate it. So it really does make sense when you look at that and you look at the Bible and how it says God is going to shorten the days, because if they finally succeed at doing that, could you imagine like how much humanity is going to change? And back to the beef situation where he said he wanted to modify the beef. I find it so interesting because there was a video floating around last year where there was a whole bunch of cattle that were dead. It was, if I had to count, because it was so much cattle, I would say it was like thousands, literally thousands upon thousands of
Was
dead
there a
cattle.
virus or something going
There,
on with that?
there was no virus. Guess what they said it was? The heat. The heat. It wasn't even that hot.
The heat, that's why they killed so much cattle?
Yes, they said it was the heat that killed the cattle.
There's always some explanation that they made some whack explanation. Like, did
Some
heat
dumb
really?
explanation. It was so stupid. I was like, that's not true. You guys are lying. And then come to find out, the government has weapons, these energy weapons, where they can kill thousands upon thousands of animals, and they've actually proven that they have these weapons that exist. It's like an energy weapon. So it makes sense. Maybe that's what they used to kill all the cattle, because it doesn't make sense to talk about, oh, it's the heat, because it was not even that hot. And we've had like years, many years ago, we've had heat waves, and we haven't had cattle die like that. Thousands upon thousands of dead cattle. It makes no sense.
Yeah, that's there's always a reason. There's always a reason behind the stuff that they do. And that's why you just like everything that they say, you can't even take that with a grain of salt, because there's no truth. There's no truth to nothing that they say.
These are the end times. And remember, they said it out of their own mouths. This is not a conspiracy theory, guys. They said out of their own mouths that this is a new world order. This is now a new, starting from the pandemic or plandemic, this is now a new world order. So they're trying to make changes. So of course they're going to lie. They're going to create stories, for the society to believe in order to set up their new world order. Because remember, they want to have a cashless society, and they want to put all these different measures in place. They want to control us. They call us useless eaters, like people who are not part of the elite. They call them useless eaters, and that, we're disposable, basically. They're trying to, like you said earlier, cut down the population. So they're doing it by any means necessary.
Yeah, and even Bill Gates himself, he said that in a video that we both watched, Marge, he said that, of course, population control, the country's way overpopulated. He's saying that if you have over 2 kids, that's way too much kids, because it's, it's already overpopulated. But when you have over 2 kids, that's just like.
But doesn't he have more than 2 kids?
Well, he probably out of his, he ain't counting himself, sis. Like, he's definitely out of the equation that he's trying to put out right there, right? Because of course he's in the elite, right? And so his life, family.
So because he's so rich, his life is more important than the other people's lives. Yeah.
If someone is saying, okay, they're in charge of population control, they're doing all these things to try to help that in terms of, taking people out, right? Because when you try to do population control, and then that's why they're tampering with the food now, right? Because, say, oh yeah, people have to eat. Yeah, then you see food off the shelf and all these produce and stuff all off the shelf, and then they have GMO, what is it? GMO stuff and all additive stuff, and then hormones, full of hormone and all this stuff that affect your body and your health. At the end of the day, like, and then you get sick, and then you end up in a hospital, and then you're not here anymore. But it's all planned. Everything that they do, it's all planned. It's a purpose behind everything that they do. That's why you cannot trust them. You can't trust the people them. You can't, not the people them, but you can't trust, people under that type of umbrella, like the Gates and the government, and those type of people. You get me? Yes. Don't be gullible. We always talk about it on our podcast. Don't be gullible. We will not be gullible. All right? And believe everything.
Right. Another topic with the Chinese spy balloon. It just doesn't, the whole story makes no sense.
A spy balloon that's riveted the nation these past few days. The U.S. military intercepted the balloon out in the Atlantic yesterday afternoon. And David Martin has the details.
They just shot it.
A single missile fired by a jet fighter,
see the smoke coming from it,
ended the brief, spectacular life of the Chinese balloon at 2:39 Saturday afternoon.
It seems to be coming down.
Carrying out an order President Biden issued to the Pentagon earlier in the week.
They decided that the best time to do that was as it got over water outside within the 12-mile limit.
Here it goes.
The balloon went down 6 miles off the coast of South Carolina, spreading debris over a 7-mile area where Navy ships were waiting to pick up the pieces.
It's going to be really interesting if we're able to recover this, to see what they had on board.
The former number 2 officer in the U.S. military, retired Admiral Sandy Winnefeld, is not sure why China would conduct such an in-your-face spy mission, violating American airspace in full view of anyone who looked up.
I know that things are not necessarily always well coordinated. I would not be at all surprised if there's somebody being taken to the woodshed in China right now.
China has made no secret of its high-altitude balloons and has sent them over U.S. territory before, but never like this. The balloon crossed over Alaska last weekend, rode the jet stream down to Montana, where intercontinental ballistic missiles are based, and then across the entire United States. It was loaded with cameras and antennas and powered by solar panels. Shooting it down, even over sparsely populated areas, was considered too risky.
Any potential debris field would be significant and potentially cause civilian injuries or deaths or significant property damage.
The endgame began as it neared the East Coast and fighter jets started moving in for the kill. Now it lies in 47 feet of water waiting for investigators to put the pieces back together and solve the mystery of why China sent it here.
Sure. I guess we're that gullible, guys. Well, I don't know, Kimmy. No, my first thought was, okay, we know that the Chinese have so much technology that they can use to spy on the United States. One of them includes the TikTok app, believe it or not. They already said that the TikTok app is a spyware that the Chinese are using to spy on United States citizens. Why would they use something so obvious, number one, as something that's in the sky like that? How did it cross all that airspace and nobody ever noticed for many days or even months? Nobody noticed. All of a sudden, they now notice that, oh my goodness, it's a Chinese spy balloon. Number two, I find it so ironic, which I was talking to Kimmy about, is that a lot of people have noticed that the moon has been looking different, which fulfills prophecy because the Bible talks about how there are going to be changes in the moon and in the stars. So a lot of people have noticed different things happening with the moon. And I find it very ironic that as soon as more and more people are talking about the changes in the moon, all of a sudden there's a spy balloon that happens to look like a moon. So now it makes everybody who was talking about the moon looking different, now they're just going to dismiss them and say, oh, that was just a Chinese spy balloon. You weren't seeing anything different from the moon. You know what I'm saying? It's like, it's just, what are your thoughts? Because I'm not buying it.
Yeah, the government is known for distraction. They say that it crossed Montana, and stop right there over where South Carolina, they said. And it's like, come on now. And this happened yesterday. So do we have any South Carolinians on our podcast to say that, yes, you guys saw the balloon? Nothing that they say makes sense with the things that they're doing. You get me? Like it never adds up if you really think logically. I'm like, Marge actually told me about this today because I never heard about the balloon and stuff because I had a very hectic weekend. So who's to say, Marge? Who's to say?
So this is a perfect excuse to help them with their new world order, because now they're saying the Chinese are making threats because they shot down the spy balloon. Like, why would the Chinese get mad? You put a spy balloon on
Exactly. I'd be
American
like,
territory.
yeah, why would you get mad? Exactly.
So
That don't make
now,
no sense. That number one don't make no sense. Why
right.
would you get mad? As if they have authority
Exactly.
to do
So
that.
this is the perfect excuse to say, like, if something bad happens, they could just blame it on China now. They could just say, oh, it's the Chinese. They did it. If there's a new pandemic, they could say that the Chinese put something inside the balloon and it came out into our airspace.
Exactly, because if you notice, they showed a video of, when they shot it down, all those, like, I see the powder substance and stuff coming from the balloon.
Right.
They could probably, like, maybe that had a part to play in, what's, coming and whatever. Because they did, of course, it did fell in the water because they said they didn't want it to, go online, whatever. But you already know that they already blamed the sea on China, right? So for them to like say, okay, it's a Chinese spy balloon. I mean, who's to say? Maybe it is dry, maybe it's not. But I mean, you can't just believe everything that they put out there. You got to like do your own type of, research and and stuff to really make sense. You get me? Right. Because we know how our government.
This is the same government that told people that this thing right here is safe and effective, and people took it and died. So we're going to believe everything. We cannot believe
especially when we hear Mr. Gates himself talking about population control. Like, I want to know what this balloon, what part it has to play with whatever they're trying to set up next.
I wouldn't be surprised if they say something about, oh, how now the water's contaminated and we can't drink it because
we're gonna have no waters on the shelf.
Stuff from the Chinese balloon is contaminated. Now there's a new pandemic. Now we gotta stay inside. Now there's this new shot that everybody has to take. I just don't trust them. I don't trust anything that they say.
Yes, Marge, I don't trust them because we heard about that there's going to be another lockdown, right? Who's to know when it's going to be? I think they say it was going to come this year, right, Marge?
Actually, the one that I saw, right, because they actually had a simulation where they practiced in case of a pandemic, and the simulation, according to the simulation, the pandemic is supposed to happen in 2025. Just like, they had, how they had a simulation for COVID, right? But the rehearsal was in 2018, and then COVID happened in the US in 2020. I'm not saying the spy balloon didn't happen. Like, there's actually footage of them shooting it in the sky, but I do not believe the narrative. I don't believe that's what happened. I feel like it's a story to help whatever next plan that they're going to do.
Exactly. And I'm happy you made that clear too, Marge, because I know people be like, okay, but y'all see the balloon over there, so what? Because we're not saying that it's not, but people have to, they have to paint that picture to make it kind of look believable. So that's what they're doing.
Exactly. It's hard. Like, when you try to tell people, even people who are supposedly can see, they still don't get it. Like, I was talking to somebody and they would just tell me, oh, but it is a Chinese spy balloon. They're trying to attack us and blah, blah, blah. I'm like, you're just going to believe the narrative? Come on now. Like, they're just telling you what they want you to believe. That's what they've always been doing in the news. They've been telling you what they want you to believe to spin a narrative. Okay?
Exactly.
Who knows?
Exactly.
Maybe the United States themselves put that up in the sky and said it was a Chinese spy. And then
who knows?
You don't know. Exactly.
Maybe, listen, you see what I'm saying? Okay, the China was mad because, they shot it down. Maybe China mad because y'all using their name within a propaganda and all this nonsense for people to believe that it's China doing this nonsense. So maybe that's what they're mad about.
Or there's so many scenarios. Or China and the US are working together, because remember, they both want a new world order. Because when you look at the pandemic, they did the worst things to their citizens in regards to the supposed pandemic. And a lot of their citizens ended up dying. So they are working towards this new world order too. So just like the Bible says, remember when the Pharisees, they called Jesus Beelzebub? And what did Jesus say? Jesus said, how can Satan cast out Satan? He said, if a kingdom be divided against itself, how can it stand, right? So if we know that this world, right, the Bible says that Satan is the God of this world, so that means they're going to work together to create this new world order. You understand? But they want you to think that they have a beef. They want you to think that they're fighting in China. Oh my goodness, they're trying to spy because they want to attack America. They want you to think that. Because how are they going to accomplish the new world order if they're not united?
Exactly. And they that they be going on them secret meetings and stuff like that for them to kind of make some agreements and stuff that we don't know. We don't know. We do not know. It's not everything that is presented to us, like we always say, we should believe. Because like we said earlier about the shot, right? It was told that, it's way more effective than you not having it, right? And how many people start having these reactions and losing their lives even after they got it? You get me? And so many citizens and non-citizens believe this. And what happened? They are without their loved ones right now. You get me? They're suffering from something right now because of this. So it's not everything that said one should believe, okay?
Right. Which is the point that I really wanted to drive across, because at this point, they don't even try that hard because they're like, please, these useless eaters are so gullible. Like they don't even try hard because they know that anything they put in front of our faces, we're going to swallow it, hook, line, and sinker, because we don't think for ourselves. We just believe anything. Come on, man, really? Like they have all these tools to spy on us, and they're gonna put a balloon that's so obvious up in the sky. Are you kidding me?
That's what I'm saying. I know some people, they're like, as much weapons and stuff and as much equipped as we are, there'd be a balloon just sitting up there and they wait so long to even notice it, to actually shoot it out. Like, I mean, and then like, if that's the case, like we're definitely in doom for the people who really listen and do whatever they're being told by the system. You get me? Yeah. They're really in doom. If you trust the system so much that, a spy balloon has been up there, right? Who knows how long, and they just seen it and shoot it down. Like, come on. It's just really ridiculous. It's always something. I'm like, listen, I'm like, there is always something that is going on. Like, we can never catch a break.
Notice when it started, Kimmy. When did we catch a break? When did we couldn't catch a break? It started when they announced the New World Order, and they said Australia said it out of their mouths, Canada said it out of their mouths. They said this is now a New World Order, and ever since then, there's one thing after the other: bird flu, this disease, this strain of COVID, this mutation, it's always something new, because this is the plan is getting the ball rolling. And next thing you know, eventually it's going to be a cashless society, and a lot of us are going to be shut out of the society.
Listen, they said cashless society, Marge. Are we not telling our army or asking them if they heard about the money that's been disappeared from bank accounts?
Yes, we have a video that we posted. We put a little short up for you guys to see. You guys check it out. The guy and other people in the bank, they're talking about how their money is missing. And I know that this has been happening with Bank America for years, right? But not on this scale. Not on this scale where it's like so many people missing money. And it's not just Bank of America.
Yeah, it's not just Bank of America. Yeah. It was another one too. Was Bank of America and what's the other one?
And in other countries too. There's a woman, I believe in Nigeria, she was talking about they took her money and
and China, and there's China, there's Jamaica. When you say
with
my sprinter, yo, when I give him back his money, you know, when I talk about that, when I give him back $10,000 or something like that, the man missing what? How much it was? $4 million?
I think it was actually 16 million.
Yes, the money, like, come on now. And people all over the world has been affected by this loss of money and stuff. Like, it is just like crazy because remember, everything they do in stages, like they do like little by little. They can't just. Do you remember this video where they were talking about, I don't know if I think it was a gas station, and the guy was trying to put in his money to buy gas. And there was no, he couldn't use money for gas. It was like some scanner or something, some chip that you have to use in order. You remember that video?
It sounds familiar.
That he had to use to pay for the gas. It wasn't taking cash. It wasn't taking no form of money. You have to scan a chip to actually get gas. And I don't, it's one of them foreign countries there too. And he actually was showing you, so it wasn't like talking out his mouth and wasn't showing you the evidence. The evidence was there. If I have the video, oh man, if we had the video, Marge,
I've actually seen a lot of videos like that, Kimmy, where when you want to purchase something now, like you have to scan. There's even one where I don't know if you saw, you could use your hand to scan.
Yeah, the chip.
Yeah.
That's the chip I'm talking about.
It's everywhere now. I mean, it's not literally everywhere, but it's in a lot of places. So they're just setting it up.
I don't think, you heard about it being in the US yet?
Yeah, I have. There's a video I saw where this lady, she shows herself in a supermarket where is this thing, you scan your hand in order to make the purchase.
I just paid using only my palm at the grocery store without credit cards and cash. Let me show you how it works. You need to sign up on Amazon One kiosk, you insert your credit card and the machine scans both of your palms. Then you enter your mobile number and agrees with terms of use. You're all set. I didn't believe that it worked that simple and decided to check it straight away. I just got something to drink and went to the cashier. And this is the moment. I just paid using my palm. Can you believe? What do you think about this technology?
They're setting it up in a lot of places, but the thing is little by little. So, some people are not really taking note. They're not really noticing because it's not everywhere yet. It's only like a few places.
I saw this Jamaica comedian, right? And she was, I don't know if you guys like, when you're not having a grandmothers and a grandparents, mostly it's the grandmothers, right? Or they had their money in, they used to have it under the mattress, like, right? They say put all the documents on the documents and everything on the money, put it in a plastic bag, just in case of, if any flood or whatever, water catch it, it's safe in a plastic bag, right? And the money under the bed or something, and grandma put the money in the bra or stuff and wrap it up and think, no bank account. You get me? Because you say it's not safe there. So they know what they were talking about years ago. I tell you, man, it was so funny when I saw her, reenacting everything about, you don't keep the money in the bank account, to keep it, somewhere safe in the house. And I remember my grandmother keeping the money safely under the mattress or somewhere hidden where who knows where that is. But of course she protected it with plastic bag and stuff, all type of plastic bag and stuff, protecting the documents and money. But yeah, I tell you, like the banks right now, like just slowly and surely, you heard about it on the news, I'm sure. Let us know if you guys who have been affected, if you have been affected, let us know in terms of your money being missing or some or it's been withdrawn entirely. There's no money there, right? Let us know in the comment section. We definitely would like to know what's going on with our army.
With everything, you see how we're talking about they're doing these things where you have to scan your hand and you have to use a chip. It's all a setup for what really is to come. Because the thing about it is, Hollywood movies have desensitized us to prophecy, because when we sit down, and if you sit down and you watch a Hollywood movie, everything, like say it's about the end times, right? Everything happens within an hour in the movie, right? So because we watch stuff like that, we think that in real life, everything is just going to happen all at once. It's going to be boom, here it is, right? Boom, here it is, end times, Antichrist, take my mark, right hand, forehead, 666. But we're not thinking that there's a build up to it. We're not thinking about the symbolism to it. We're just thinking with a Hollywood movie mind frame.
Let them know, Marge. Let them know. Let them know, remind them, because that's how majority of the people, that's what they think, and that's why they are fooled, right? Just with that one with this one, right? That's how they were fooled, because they're thinking like word for word, this is how this is gonna go, and they haven't seen it yet. So no, this couldn't be true, right? So that's why they're fooled. They're not wise, just like the five foolish virgins.
Go ahead,
right? Oh my gosh, Marge, let them know, man. I tell you, we're not wise, and that's why they're so gullible with everything that they hear. You get me? That's why they're first in line, and that's why this is like a awakened podcast that we created. To try to open the minds and your eyes, to see what's really taking place. You got to do your own research. You can't just take everything that you hear or you watch on CNN. Get off CNN. Get off CNN. You get me? I have a relative that he just stay on CNN. The channel don't move. Once the TV turn on, it's stuck on CNN. Get off CNN. All right? Tell them about CNN, Marge.
CNN is just like all the movies you see, like sci-fi and all that stuff. It's not real. They put a picture, they just paint a picture of what they want you to believe. And you guys sit down and you believe it. And when you see CNN, you go, oh, and you just like do everything that they tell you to do. You sit there. Some people, they watch, especially older people, a lot of them, they don't even watch TV, but guess what? They'll sit there and watch CNN for hours.
CNN, and that's what I'm talking about.
Yep. And they don't realize they're being programmed.
Programmed television. That's what we talk about.
Lie vision. Tell lies vision. Tell lies. It tells you lies.
Yeah, and so many people, the older ones, they still tune into CNN. The TV, the channels talk there. And like what you said, Marge, earlier about, God coming, what you said about God coming because sooner, because you don't want the fool. What you said?
He said if the days are not shortened, that no flesh would be saved. So he has to shorten the days.
Shorten the days. You gotta shorten the days, man, because like right now these are perilous times and end times. I tell you, man, Revelations is right here. Like if you have been reading the last book, it is right here. You get me? We want to make sure that you guys have waken up. This new world order, better take it serious. And oh my gosh, Mark, should we talk to them about the cloning thing? Oh my god, that's like a different topic for a different day. But when I heard it, when I heard that the former president's mouth himself, I was like, that was the icing on the cake for me, because I'm like, oh my goodness, it's just so much crazy stuff has been going on, and we know they've been cloning animals and all that stuff. But when it comes to people, like, oh, man, guys, let me tell you, man, it's a very scary world right now you're living in. Revelations is being revealed right now. It's crazy. Do you believe it? You heard about the cloning thing, right,
Yes,
Marge?
yes, they've been had that technology for cloning, and a lot of people don't realize that. That's why it's like you can't believe everything that you see on TV. Even I know Kim and I were talking about the Damar Hamlin thing. You know, at this point, who knows? Who knows if that was really him? Because it's like they're just so they have the technology to clone people. You know, and not only the technology to clone, but they even have technology where like they could put your face. You see how your face is right here? They could put your face on top of mine and make it look
Yes.
like that is really you, but it's not
Mhm.
really you. Like they even do it on television. They did it with Simon Cowell on America's Got Talent. The contestant was performing and they put Simon Cowell's face on him and it looked like Simon Cowell and it looked like he was actually singing. But it was just the technology that they were using. So
But you know what? You know what they would say with that might be like, okay, but somebody would have said, okay, but Damar Hamlin came out as a real he came out like, how can you use that technology like that when the person is like right there? But of course, y'all could even see him say face. If y'all know what we're talking about, that Damar Hamlin thing, like, you know, so you don't even know who walking in there. So that's like another case for another day, right?
Yeah. Because next case. I know, right? Because Kimmy, a lot of the stuff that they put in front of you is so believable. Like, because sometimes I could understand why people would think that we're crazy and say, "Oh, these are conspiracy theorists," because the information that they present to the public, it looks so believable because they're so good at the lies. They're so good with the technology. So when somebody who comes across and tells you the truth, you're gonna think they're crazy. You'll be like, "Oh, please, you're paranoid. What's wrong with you? Everything is not a conspiracy. Oh, you in your tinfoil hat, always talking about this is fake and this is a clone," because you don't understand that they have the technology to deceive the public. But they haven't spoken. A lot of this technology that they haven't informed the public about it, you know.
No.
But it's if you do your research, you'll see that, and you read the documents, you'll see that they do have this technology, you know, and they're fooling the public in so many different ways. And that's why we have to ask God, open our eyes so that we can see what's really going on, so that we won't be tricked.
That's true, Mark. No, it's not the time. You know, we got to make sure that we are on, our antennas are up. They shouldn't be down, right? No, it's not the time for you to pull down the antennas. Should be all the way up, fully adjusted. You get me? Properly adjusted. If you have CNN on in your household, turn it off. I know for the older ones though, the older heads.
It's like a drug for them.
Yes, I don't know if that's gonna be easier said than done. You know what I'm saying? It's easier said than done. When that's what applies to them. Like it's easier said than done. But you know, we just want to make sure that our army stays sharp and stuff, and make sure that each one reach one, because that's what this podcast is about. Reaching each and every one, as much people that we can, with this forum, with this platform. And how much farther away we are from 100 subscribers, Marge? Make the army know, enlighten the army. Oh man, we are 10 subscribers away from 100. We are 8 subscribers. Come on.
9 subscribers away.
We are 9 subscribers. I'm gonna let it. We are 9 subscribers away from 100. So it is right there. I think. I know. By tomorrow we're gonna hit 105. Right? That's how confident I am. All right. So make sure that you guys are, are telling, reaching everyone, all, sharing our podcast or forum, because this is only to, enlighten and water your spirit, your mind, your soul. Make sure that you are getting all this necessary information. Okay. And making sure that our army is not too gullible, when it comes to everything that we have covered. Okay, so make sure that you guys have your notification bell on. Make sure you're loving the video, liking the video. Make sure you're dropping your comments down below. If you have anything to share with us, make sure you drop it in the comment section. There's so much more to be said, but like we said, court has to be adjourned for a different day, right? Okay, Marsha, do you have any closing comments?
Well, two closing comments. I want to say, as Kimmy said, you please don't be gullible, guys, especially if it's something that's coming from the government. You want to take it with a grain of salt, okay? And I want to leave you with a scripture that I really love this scripture because I find a lot of people tend to not follow this scripture. So I just want to read it because it goes with what we're saying. So you can find it in Proverbs chapter 18, verse 13. And it reads, "He that answereth a matter before he heareth it, it is a folly and shame unto him." Because a lot of times, you tell people stuff and it's like they don't want to hear it. They just want to talk, but they're not really listening. Because there's a difference between listening to understand and listening to respond. And in this time that we live in, a lot of people, they just want to listen to respond. So I just want to tell you guys, listen to understand before you are quick to respond.
Oh my God, Marge, you are so on point.
To God be the glory.
Look at you, Marge. Yes, guys, I hope you heard what my sister had said just now, because that's so true. A lot of us, you hear something, you're so quick to respond and not listening and taking heed, okay? So make sure you guys keep that in mind. And also, thank you guys so much for tuning in. And with that, I am going to ask, have I become your enemy? Because I tell you the truth. Mwah. Bye-bye.
Bye. Let's kiss. You can be free, chains loose completely. All shame, erase, press the delete key. God's grace is wide, his love a deep sea. I cannot talk about him discreetly. Jesus completes me, Satan beneath me. Christ's blood on my doorpost like graffiti. All devils will run, they can't defeat me. The wins that I have did not come cheaply. This flesh is slain cause sin is beastly. Why people choose death, it really beats me. I put on Christ's nature is meekly. He'll wash up your robe and make you priestly. I love the way that my Savior treats me. He opened my eyes and now I can see. His word is light and bread that feeds me. I surrendered my life and Christ leads me.